Imagine there's no pizza.
At Talking Points memo today, they noticed something that we initially did not notice about this spectacular addition to what we know about the career of Republican presidential candidate Herman Cain. This, of course, is Herman Cain in a choir robe repurposing John Lennon's Imagine, song about world peace, to instead be a song about pizza and tacos. But we missed something in this video when it surfaced yesterday. We missed something that Talking Points memo caught. And actually, to see this, you guys, if we have to fast forward just a little bit from where we were. Can we show that? Here. It's there. Do you see who that is? Politics geeks of the world, do you see who that is? Standing and enthusiastically cheering on Herman Cain? That is Ben Nelson, now a sort of Democratic senator from the great state of Nebraska. But at the time of this video in 1991, he was the sort of Democratic governor of the great state of Nebraska. Yay. Good spotting. Now, aside from his Where Are They Now cheering on Herman Cain cameo in the news today, Senator Ben Nelson of Nebraska is also in the news today because he says he is going to vote with Republicans again against President Obama's jobs bill. He and Senator Jon Tester of Montana already did vote against the jobs bill as a whole once. But now that they're breaking it up into its component parts for the Senate to vote on it again, now Senators Jon Tester and Ben Nelson and maybe Joe Lieberman, God bless him, he still exists. Now these conservative Democrats say they may vote against even just the specific part of President Obama's jobs bill that stops the layoffs of teachers and firefighters and cops. Incidentally, the polling on this issue is amazing. In the new CNN poll, when they ask people whether they favor or oppose providing federal money to state governments to allow them to hire teachers and first responders, the number of Americans who say, yes, I favor that, is 75%. 75! That is an unreal number for an economic policy. Even Republicans want to save teachers and first responder jobs. Even Republicans support that by a huge number. Republicans support that by 63%. Think about that for a second. If a huge majority of Republican voters supports the teachers, cops, firefighters jobs bill, then Republican elected officials voting against it are voting against what the voters want by a huge margin. They are voting against even what their own voters want by a huge margin. That is a gigantic and very exploitable split between what Republican voters want and what elected Republican officials are doing. And into that amazing opportunity for Democrats, Conserva-Dems like Jon Tester and Ben Nelson and Joe Lieberman are siding with the Republican senators, who are siding with no voters, not even their own, and who are siding against firefighters and against cops and against teachers.
Just last week, all the Republicans in the Senate got together and blocked this jobs bill. They refused to even debate it. 100% of Republicans in the Senate voted against it. We got 100% no from Republicans in the Senate.
Also from a small, weird handful of Democrats. You got no's as well. Conserva-Dem senators like these guys always try to get ahead by trashing their own party. That is what makes them Conserva-Dems in most cases. But in this case, it is a weird one. The calculus here is weird because it means tacking to the right of the Democrats, yes, which they love to do, but it means tacking to the right of the Democrats into what is clearly an electoral no man's land. Joining us now is Jared Bernstein, a former member of President Obama's economic team, former economic advisor to Vice President Joe Biden, and who is now a senior fellow at the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities and an MSNBC contributor. Jared, thanks very much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So voters are as close as they get to unanimous that keeping teachers and firefighters and cops on the job is the right thing to do right now. Is there anybody else who is opposed to this, along with these Republican senators and Ben Nelson? I mean, are economists as a group saying that this is a bad idea or something?
No, I mean, you can always find some economist to say something bad about anything. But overall, it's widely recognized that the president's jobs plan in toto is what's needed to start nudging the unemployment rate in the right direction. I mean, if we don't do that, we're probably going to be looking at an unemployment rate that's 9% or north of that a year from now, just like we are now. But as you pointed out, we've got Democrats who are to the right of Republicans. I was very struck by these poll results. 27% more Republicans wanted to see teachers and firefighters and first responders keep their jobs. And I remember, Rachel, from back in the Recovery Act days where you don't have to be well-versed in the economics of Keynesianism to understand this one. I mean, we had mayors who were saying, I have a bunch of pink slips in this hand that I was about to hand out to a bunch of teachers, and a Recovery Act a check over here so I can rip up the pink slips and keep the teachers on their jobs. This is simple stuff.
In terms of the economic messaging here, Jared, it's as I said, it's hard to get better polling numbers and any policies than the president has on most aspects of the jobs bill. But on the Republican side, the Republican presidential candidates and the Republicans in the House are sort of trading the lead in terms of who's going to get the lead economic message. We keep hearing about how much people like the amazing Herman Cain 999 plan. Now that Mr. Cain is polling so well, I understand that we've got some new analysis of how that plan would work.
So this is incredible. This is really part and parcel of what we've been discussing, and also what you were talking about with Ezra. The idea that these folks are speaking to themselves in such an insular way that they are definitely leaving the country behind. This new analysis out today from the Tax Policy Center, which is a very highly regarded nonpartisan scorekeeper of this stuff, shows that the Herman Cain 999 plan would raise taxes on the lowest income people. Their income is around $10,000 on average, would raise their taxes by $1,600, would raise taxes, federal taxes on the middle class by over $3,000, would lower taxes, take them down, lower tax payments for those in the top 1%. Okay, so those at the very tip, actually really the only group that's been doing well, would lower their taxes by over $300,000. But then when you get up to the stratosphere, to the very top of that top percentile, the top 0.1%, their average income is around $8 million a year, so that's a pretty nice neighborhood. This takes their tax bill down $1.8 million. Takes it down, okay? So, I mean, this is, I guess, class warfare. I don't know what to call it. I was actually talking to my 12-year-old daughter, which I don't like to burden her with this sort of thing, but I just wanted to get like a kid's response to this. I actually showed her these numbers. And her response was whack job. And I thought that was actually pretty good.
Paul Ryan of Wisconsin, who's the House Republicans' top budget guy, he has essentially endorsed the Herman Cain 999 plan. He says he likes the sound of it. So
here's the thing. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. I mean, here's the thing on that, Rachel. Paul Ryan, a couple of economists out there, a couple of people I've been debating lately. Now that these numbers are out, I really want to hear what those folks have to say about it. I mean, these numbers they just came out this afternoon. We've got to keep an eye on that.
In terms of the Democrats versus the Republicans on this, I mean, now if we've got the top House Republican endorsing the 999 plan, can't Democrats start saying, listen, here's your choice, the wildly popular ideas of the Jobs Act versus raising taxes on everybody in the country except for rich people?
Right. Exactly. I mean that's exactly the point. You could not be more out of step with where not just the American people or the Democrats, but with the broad majority of Democrats and Republicans. I keep thinking there are Tea Party folks out there who are among the 20 million plus people who are and underemployed. Do they want to see their taxes go up? Do they want to see their opportunities to work get thrown by the wayside as Republicans throw this plan under the bus for political advantage? Do they want to see their kids in classrooms that are twice as large as they would be otherwise? So I really think this stuff is coming to a head. I think the president has got it right in bringing this message over the heads of Congress right to the people.
Jared Bernstein, a former member of President Obama's economic team, former economic advisor to Vice President Biden. Jared, thanks for your time tonight. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, best new thing in the world today, Mitt Romney and Spinal Tap together at last. That is coming up.